baptize you with the Holy Spirit. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Our readings for the second Sunday of Advent are so rich in imagery, so beautiful, the way we're invited to see this mountain, these mountains, plural, a voice crying out in the wilderness, the leveling of mountains and the raising of valleys, the straightening of roads. Powerful imagery that evokes a sense of work, action. That's all there is to it. This speaks of action. Having grown up in the Midwest, right here in Omaha, Nebraska, and here in Omaha, in the Missouri Valley, we have nice hills. And sometimes in the winter, we know just how hilly Omaha can be, right? You know, everything's flat. Nebraska, you can just see forever, and it's so beautiful, and it is. But right around here, we do have some hills. But over the last probably 22 years, I've had the real joy of traveling from Los Angeles to Palm Springs. I have cousins that live in both those areas, and they're gracious enough to let me hang out at their place free of charge for a little bit of R&R. And I do that, obviously with COVID, not this year, but just about every year, probably twice a year. And there's this great route, Route 60, that goes to the southern edge of the San Gabriel Valley. And it's just breathtaking. It is remarkable in the spring, you know, the desert spring. The flowers are incredible. And then as the fall comes, the difference in color in the arid, and with the sunshine, it's just remarkable. And my cousins always tease me because I refer to them as driving through the mountains. And obviously they're not mountains, but they are not the plains, you know. So it kind of wraps and rolls and goes down. I think it was about 4 years ago, I was stunned, literally stunned. I'm driving along and I saw equipment I had never seen before. And this 2-lane section that goes probably for about 17 miles was going to become a divided 4-lane section. And the machine that I saw, brothers and sisters, literally ate the hills. Literally ate the hills. I pulled over to the side at one point where I could get off of an exit and turn my car back around, and I stopped and caught the attention, actually, of a highway patrolman who stopped to just kind of see what I was doing. And I had to oddly admit that ever since I was a boy, I used to love to play with trucks and move dirt and see this, and I've never seen anything like it. And he was almost surprised, and he goes, "It's pretty cool, isn't it?" I said, "It is. It's just fascinating." And he said they literally call them mountain eaters. And I said, "Thank you for that too, because I think of this as a mountain, but I come from the plains." And he smiled. What does this have to do with our readings today? If he is to come into the lives of those around us, something's got to give. If the road for Jesus Christ today in 2020 is going to be straight and broad, accessible, things will have to be moved. And if the Lord, and I can testify, is going to continue to be master of my life, mountains have to be eaten. I can struggle with my own opinion. I can struggle with my own thoughts. I can struggle with my own attitudes, and they can be as persistent and unyielding as a mountainside. And if I do not allow the Lord to work on me, I may be an obstacle to you. And that is not what God intends. As a matter of fact, if we are to be true to our word as disciples, we are to continually be converted each and every day. so that we hear that voice crying out, "Prepare the way of the Lord." In his message to us for Advent, Archbishop Lucas talked about practical ways that Christ will come to us. I love the way he just says things like, well, he already came to us in time, and so he's not going to do that again. Historically, Jesus came. What we prepare for is remembering the fact that Jesus came through the incarnation as an infant and was raised through the love of his mother, Mary, and his foster father, Joseph. That he grew to manhood and he gave his life for us and for our salvation. The voice of John pointed to Christ, and Christ's very life points to us. That we might take him at his word, that we might allow his life to influence us so that our actions would bring his coming anew in mystery. This afternoon I had the privilege to help out for a little while, and even saying that I helped is a reach, but I got to move some bags for the family-to-family Christmas work down in the Rainer Center. It's remarkable. It is remarkable to see what the generosity of this community is providing for families. Tomorrow night in this very church, we will gather, and for those that can't gather in person, please join in live streaming to experience Advent by candlelight, to pray together and ask for God's healing, to be in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament and allow the mystery of Christ's life to permeate us that we might move forward in his Spirit. That's how the mystery of Christ being with us happens. It happens in your homes, it happens in our city, in our state, in our country, but first in our hearts. Because, brothers and sisters, in the words of the apostle, then how shall we act in waiting and hastening the day of his coming? We shall act in righteousness, for he will come in glory. And we want to be ready. We want him to find us and recognize in us the same desire to do what is right and good, to the glory of God our Father. Together then, let us profess our